Okay, so we are on page 5 in our journal, 1-5 notes. And what we're going to be talking about is solving with when there are variables on both sides. Okay, last time we just did one side, and y'all did really, really well on it. But do you remember my solving steps that I use on every single problem? Don't call me after dark. So here's the deal. I'm always going to write DCMAD. You do not have to do this, okay? Remember, whatever works for you is not always the same thing that works for me. But whatever works for you is what I want you to do. Got it? I also draw a line from the equal sign. The reason I do that is because it tells my brain whatever I do on one side, I'm going to do to the other. And also, I have another saying, when I jump the line, I change the sign, okay? So it kind of helps me remember a few little things. Jumping the line, changing the sign, whatever I do to one side, I always do to the other to keep it balanced, okay? So I'm going to start with don't. What does don't stand for? Distribute. Is there any parentheses or multiplication I need to distribute? No. Nope, so that one's done. Now, combining happens on one side at a time. So can I combine anything in the yellow? Nope. But can I combine anything in the blue? No. Nope. So combining is done. Now, moving. Means move. So that means I'm going to take whatever variable is on the right side and move it over. I'm going to jump the line, so therefore I have to change it's a positive 9, so it becomes a negative 9x. Whatever I do to one side, I always do to the. And I'm going to line up like terms. I'm going to line up x's with x's always. Okay, these cancel, so I cross those out to remind my brain they're done. That leaves me with a negative 11 on this right side. And then I read this part, 7 minus 9x, like a book. Kind of like 4th grade math, okay? Read it like you would. 7 minus 9 in your calculator is what? Negative 2. Bring down that x. And then what else did you not touch? The negative 4, so bring it down. Okay, so once I've moved my variable, I have to get everything else to go away. And that's when I add or subtract others. So how do I add or subtract to get negative 4 to go away? Add 4, whatever I do to one side, I do to the. Good. So I'm left with negative 2x equals what? Negative 7. Check it in your calculator if you're not confident. My last step is always going to be to divide by the leading coefficient, which just means whatever number is in front of my variable, that's what I'm going to divide by. So what am I dividing both sides by? Negative 2. And x equals what? 3.5. Now, looking at your original problem, were there any fractions up here? No, since there were no fractions in your original problem, it's okay to leave it as a decimal. Okay? But here's what I want you to do real quick. I don't know if I can pull this up quickly or not. If you will get in your calculator, we're going to see if we're right. Remember, we have a calculator cheat that kind of tells us if our answer is right or not. You learned it last time. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We've got, it takes a second for mine to load. So we'll wait for it to load. But here's what I need everybody to do. Take your calculator and go to the y equals screen. In y1, type in 7x minus 4. In your y2, you're going to type in 9x minus 11. The x is right next to your alpha button, which is the green button. So that's what you're going to type in. Okay, so I'm in my y equals screen. You're just going to type the left side of the equation for y1 and the right side of the equation for y2. So, yes, so it's 7, what is it? 7x minus 4. And then for y2, I've got 9x minus 11. What, buddy? You don't put an equal. Okay? So this is what your calculator should look like. You got it? Now, press the graph button. That's in the top right-hand corner of your calculator. You should see 2 lines. Now, here's what I want everybody to do. Press the zoom button for me. It's in the middle of the top. And then press 6. That's going to take you back to your normal window. Do you see 2 lines? Do you see them touching yet? No. So here's what we're going to do to see that they're touching. We're going to zoom out a little bit. So you're going to press zoom again and just press the number 3 and enter. Now, can you see that your lines touch? It's not in color like mine, but can you see it up here? See that they cross? Whenever they cross or they intersect, we can find the answer where they're crossing, and that's going to be the answer we just solved for. So if you'll follow me, let's press the second button and trace. Second, trace. Okay, you should come up to a screen that looks like this. What are we looking for? What does touch mean? Intersect. So press the number 5. Don't scroll down to 5. Press 5. And then you're going to press, you see how the bottom of your screen says first curve question mark? You're going to get all the question marks to go away. So the only way to do that is to press enter, 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 and then look, it tells you an intersection. What does it tell you your x equals? There you go. Okay. Order that. Oh, we just need to go second, trace, and then we're looking for the intersection, so we press 5. We make the question marks go away, enter, 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 and there's your answer. Okay, so you can now solve any equation in algebra always, okay? But remember, in order to get full credit, I need to show work. So show your work first, then check your answer. Got it? Okay, so let's go back here. What I need you to do now is I need you with your partner. Sorry. Never mind. It went away. It was like, nah. Okay, with your partner, you're going to go inside the foldable and do example 1. Ready, set, go.
Do I go over there?
You can work by yourself. It's okay. And I know that y'all are still working. That's okay. I just want to go quickly. Okay, I'm just trying to go fast here. So I saw a lot of you actually start your problem by writing the acronym. And you wrote DCMAD. Don't call me after dark. We drew that line. Oh, it's frozen. Sorry. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask ourselves anything to distribute. What about on the left side of my equation? Do I have anything up here to combine? What about on the right side? Nope. So then I'm going to look to combine like terms. Oh, wait, we just did that. Don't worry, Lubbock's calling you. Okay, now we're going to look to move our variable. Bless you, there were some people that moved it to the right. That's okay. Whatever works for you might not work for me, but if it gets us to the same answer, I don't care. The only thing is when we start working with inequalities, you're going to want to move it to the left, and you're going to understand why later. Okay, so I'm going to take this 6x, and I'm going to subtract 6x to get it to go away. I don't want variables on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to get 3 minus 10x equals what? Negative 17. Then I'm going to add or subtract the other things to get them to go away. So how do I move a positive 3? Subtract 3. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm left with negative 10x is equal to negative 20. Then I'm going to divide by the leading coefficient, which is negative 10. What is negative 20 divided by negative 10? Okay, if you moved your variable to the right, did you still get 2 as your answer? That's okay, so pay attention to your signs. Make sure you pay attention to your signs. It's probably a sign thing that we did wrong. Okay? So when you said, look, 6 minus 4 is 2, but you would have added 17. Ooh. Oh, because a negative 4x, what's the opposite of negative 4x? So we would have added 4x to both sides, not subtracted it. Make sense? Yeah. A sign issue. So that would have just been a content error, or a calculation error. Okay? So let's look at the next one on the outside. It's got a little bit of different stuff going on. What's new on this problem? Parentheses. Not truly different. Just an extra step. That means I do have to distribute. So what am I distributing up here? The 2, how many times? Twice. What is 2 times 6? Good. What is 2 times negative 4x? Good job. And that's going to equal 25 minus 9x. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to look to combine like terms. Do I need to combine anything on the left side? What about the right side? Nope, so no combining to be done, but I do need to move that variable. I'm going to move this negative 9x. How am I going to move it? Plus 9x. Whatever I do to one side, I always do to the? Good. So those 9x's are canceled. That means I am left with a 25 on the right side. And I've got 12 what? Plus 1x left over. Negative 8 plus 9 gives me 1. You do have to separate those two terms. Make sure you put a positive sign in front of it because it was positive 1. Yes, sir, it is. Okay, so that 12, how do I make that positive 12 go away? Subtract 12. Whatever I do to one side, I always do to the? Good. So I'm left with 1x equals? 13. Now, when I divide by 1, does that change anybody? No. If I divided by negative 1, would it change something? Yes. Good. Just want y'all to know. Did you get 13? Yes. Y'all are awesome. Let's go ahead and go to the inside. We're going to kind of talk through it together, but I'm sure some of you have already worked ahead. That's fine. I'm just going to talk through it while I go through it. If I'm going too fast, slow me down, okay? I'm going to draw my equal sign. I've got a D, C, M, A, D. There are parentheses, so I have to what? Good. I'm going to distribute a negative 3 how many times? Twice. Now, I didn't touch the left side, so I'm just going to bring everything straight down. And then negative 3 times x gives me negative 3x. What does negative 3 times negative 4 give me? Positive 12. Make sure you put a plus sign there to indicate it's positive. After I distribute, I look to combine like terms. There's nothing to combine on the left side, nothing to combine on the right side, so my combine like terms is good to go. Then what am I going to do? Yes, I'm going to move this variable. I'm going to add 3x to both sides. That's going to cancel here. And that's going to leave me with negative 8 plus 5x on the left equals to what on the right? Say with confidence. 12. Good job. Okay. So now how do I get rid of that negative 8? Plus 8. Okay. So what I'm going to do is cancel that 8 on the left side. And I've got 5x equals, what's 12 plus 8? 20. And my last step is to divide by that leading coefficient. What's that leading coefficient? 5. So what is my answer? 4. X equals 4. We good with that? Let's go do the last two, okay? Let's go to the front side. No, those are going to be review for our quiz next time. Okay? So again, I've got an equal sign. I'm going to draw the line. I'm going to write, don't call me after dark. What's my first step? Hold on, wait. What's my real first step? Distribute. Is there any parentheses? No, but then it looks to combine like terms. On the left side, do I have to combine anything? No. On the right side, do I need to combine anything? Yes. What? Okay, a negative 5. Remember, we read it like a book. So it's 3 minus 5 in our calculator. What does that give me? Negative 2x. I'm going to bring down that 7. Whatever you want to do. Just make sure you separate it by the right signs. Okay? Yes, so if you wrote it like that, it would be 7 minus 2x. Great job. Okay, so now I'm going to move my variable. How do I move this negative 2x? I'm going to add 2x to both sides. It's going to cancel it there, so I'm left on the right side with just a 7. What is 8 plus 2? Good. 10 x's. Make sure you put that x with it. Okay, don't forget your variables. And then minus 7, right? So how do I get a minus 7 to go away? Add 7 to both sides. Great job. That cancels it out on the left side. I'm left with 10x equals what? 14. And my last step always is to divide by that leading coefficient, which is 10. So what's my answer? Okay, question. Look at the very first of my problem. Did it have fractions? Nope. So is a decimal okay?
Yep.
Yes, it is. Let's go to the last problem we're going to do together. And then you'll have lots of time on your homework. Yay! Right? Okay, so here we go. We're going to draw our line from our equal sign. We're going to remember to don't call me after dark. Now, don't stands for, is there anything to distribute? No, so I move on to the next. Combine like terms, I look at one side at a time. So, anything to combine on the left side? Anything to combine on the right? Which ones? 2x and negative 6. And when you type it in your calculator, you read it like a book. So it's 2 minus 6 to give me negative 4x. And then what do I bring down? Plus 7. On the left side, it's just 10x. Great job. Now I'm going to move that variable. Okay? So how do I move this negative 4x? Good. Whatever I do to one side, I always do to the. Y'all are amazing. So what is 10 plus 4? 14x. These x's canceled over here, so I'm left with just 7. Okay? And then after I move my variable, I look to add or subtract other things. Is there anything else with my variable I need to get rid of? No. So add or subtract's gone. But there is one last step here. What is it? Divide by my leading coefficient, which happens to be 14. I've got x equals 0.5, or some of you would have recognized it as 1/2. Understand, if you do change it to a fraction, that is still a right answer, okay? And usually on the STAR test, they're going to change your answers to fractions. So like, for example, on the front of this, we got our answer as what, 1.4? Yes? They're probably going to change that to a fraction. They're probably going to call that 7/5. Make sure you feel comfortable converting things to fractions in your calculator. How do you do that? You just press math, enter, enter. Okay, and it'll always show you the fraction form. Got it? Okay, for the remainder of the period, feel free to work on your homework. It's 8 questions. It's on the back of that mice maze. Good job.